Welcome to Myrmidon Nation, and in this episode I'll show you how to make a DIY natural formicarium. So I came up with this idea because, as you can see, my Dorymeramix insanus colony has a really dirty nest. So I got to thinking, and I've always wanted to try this to great detail. So here's some of the things you'll need: a container, and then here I have some dirt to sift through and a sifter. And then in here are some local plants, which is a cactus and then a type of succulent I found locally. And then the dirt in here I pre-baked, but you'll definitely want to bake your dirt to get rid of any harmful organisms. And then also some rocks for a drainage layer under the digging medium. So first I'm going to put a layer of kind of larger rocks on the very bottom of the container. This is going to be part of my drainage layer. And make sure that it's even all the way across. And then I'm going to use a smaller gravel just to fill in the gaps and make a nice even flat layer. Next, I'm going to use some fine mesh and I'm going to trace it out and then cut it out. Then you will put the mesh that you cut out over the drainage layer, and this will keep the substrate separate from the drainage layer. Then go ahead and add your digging medium. And when you're done, it should look something like this: a clearly divisible gap between the drainage layer and the digging medium. Then at this point, you go ahead and add your decorations, which could be fake plants or real plants that you gathered locally or bought. And just keep in mind when you're putting plants inside of your setup that you'll want to put plants that are going to easily flourish in there and will not take a lot of work. Here's a look at how mine ended up, and I put this little rock in there last minute, kind of just added decor. Now this part is both optional and experimental. I just cut some tubing in half and I'll place it in opposite corners of the desert plants that I found, because they need to be tried out from time to time to be healthy. So this will allow me to keep the other corners more moist than the corners with the desert plants. Also, if you'd like to be able to see your colony, this is your best shot at doing it, is give them a little starter hole towards the front of the glass. Also, add heat once you've put the ants inside the setup. Then the last step for this is I'm going to drill some holes with my steep bit inside of the lid, and I'm going to cover it with mesh. And then right before I put the colony in, I'm gonna go ahead and spray some moisture inside the digging medium to just kind of bind it all together and make it easier to dig and less likely to collapse. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my Dorymir mix insanus colony. It's about 1 queen with probably 80 to 90 workers, maybe more, and a ton of larvae. So that's the reason that I left them inside the catch vials, because I don't want them to bury the larvae or misplace them in any way. And now you can kind of see them scampering around, checking out their new environment. I'm going to go ahead and probably just leave them alone for 2 or 3 days without really bothering them too much, and then I'll come back to it. And on one of the next colony updates, we'll get to see how they do in this. And this is also another way that you can try to promote them to dig up against a glass, is make sure that the side you want them to dig on is the only side that's dark. And this is also where you'll want to put the heat cable. So all in all, this project took about an hour, maybe just a little bit longer, but not much. Not a whole lot of work. And it's definitely a fun take on watching your ant colony in the most realistic way possible. Thank you guys for watching Myrmidon Nation, and we'll see you next time.